First, I like to give a disclaimer to all of you is that I am just a guy, okay, who is very blessed to get all A's in the A levels. I'm just a guy. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert in A levels or in JC. I'm not a guru in that. Okay, so I want to give this disclaimer. So I'm just someone sharing my
What should you
experiences.
listen this one?
Say again?
Um,
Okay, maybe y'all time in the chat for asking any questions instead of unmuting. Yeah, just time in the chat. And so, Caitlin, this will be just a short sharing from me first, then a Q&A time, right?
yes, correct.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share a few things, but I see I'm afraid that what I share is not actually what y'all need to hear or your questions. So most of this time will be for Q&A in the Zoom chat later. Okay, so you just write down your questions on your own paper first, then later Q&A you can go and send in the Zoom chat. Yeah. So okay, here's I think two main things that I'm gonna share in this short part first before the Q&A. First one is what I think the priority should be in JC. The second one is the I'm just going to share only two science strategies for studying. Okay, because I don't want to overwhelm you, overload you. So I think Dylan is going to be much more well versed on JC things also. So later, anything else that are lacking, okay, save the best for last. He'll fill in later. All right, so the first thing is the priority, right? What's the priority of JC? To me, it was to score all A's in the A levels. Okay, to score as high as possible. And I know that that's not what the government wants to say, right? They're like, hey, holistic development. But the truth is that if you flunk your A levels, it's going to be very difficult to get into the uni courses that you want to get into. So that's why the RP, the rank points, really opens so many doors for uni courses. So because I scored the maximum RP, I was able to go into basically any course that I wanted to go into, and I have freedom of choice. So I highly recommend making that our main priority, not like I don't know, dating or finding girlfriend in JC. Okay, so next thing I was gonna say is my experience, right? Most most JC students will take three H2s and one H1. Okay, and this is the standard. But so I was from RJC, and I guess my some a lot of people there are a bit kiasu, so they take four H2s instead of three H2s. Okay, so it's giving themselves more workload, right? And I actually told my father, hey, I want to just take H1 math. Okay, sorry, Dylan, but my math not very good. So I just wanted to take H1 math, because I also heard from seniors that they said H1 math was easier than my RI Sec 4 math. So if I can do RI Sec 4 math, right, H1 math is a confirm A. So it's like takes off all the stress. Yeah, but then my father was like, no, you should just take it, because it'll look better on your portfolio and things like that. So look, in hindsight, I regret that I should have just dropped it to H1 because it would have reduced so much load on me. I knew that that wasn't what I was going into in the future also. So if it's something you already know you're not going to the future, don't kiasu, don't take for H2s. Okay, so that's my first learning from my experience. Okay, another common question is, should we take H3? So maybe if you are J2 here, but the choosing period is over already, right? Okay, this is for future students. Should we take H3 subjects? So what happened to me was, as you can tell, I like bio. So I have an affinity for bio also. So in J2, I was given a choice to take up a H3. So I chose bio lah. Then I went for one lesson. It was super boring. So it was 3 hours. The teacher just talking, or reading off the slides. No one understands what they're saying unless you have done the readings. And the readings are super thick, before the lesson. And of course, I didn't do the readings. So I had no clue what's going on. And after the 3 hours, I was like, is this worth it? Every Tuesday afternoon, I have to waste 3 hours, not waste, but I have to use 3 hours plus extra time for the readings and understanding what they're even saying. So I realized it's not worth it for me because I cannot even guarantee that I will get all A's yet. I was shaky in many subjects. So why pile on an additional burden that takes up so many hours of my week? Yeah, so my recommendation would be don't take history unless you are so good already at the A level subjects. You're like, for sure, I'm going to get all A's. I need to increase the challenge, please come on. Then you go and take extra H3. Or maybe you are so sure that you want to specialize in this field. So if I knew that, wow, I'm just going to only specialize in bio research, then maybe taking H3 for bio is good. Because even if I sacrifice my other subjects and I don't get A, right, it's okay. Because maybe those who are going to accept me for these kind of courses for bio will look at my H3 favorably. Okay, so that's my H3 opinion. Okay, so moving on to the two study strategies. Okay, I want to keep it short so that it's something you can remember and use. So the first one is making notes, but a very special kind of notes. It's not just copying out the content, which is what a lot of students do for science, right? It helps, but what's more useful to your exam is finding out what are the common questions under every topic. So I do this for my own tuition also. Like some of you here are from our class. We have the CAQ notes, right? The commonly asked questions notes. So I went through all the TYS, assessment books, etc. I see, oh, these are the questions that under each topic keeps coming out. So to study smart, you know it will likely come out in your exam, right? So we make a list of these questions and then we write the model answer under each one. So this way you just study that set of notes. And I think Dylan has this, it's called his summary notes as well for math, right? And so if you do this for the science subjects, I think it will streamline your studying. It will tell you what is most important to study for. You will actually be training the answering skills instead of just writing content notes. So that's my advice. Make your own CAQ notes. Last year, I had a student who asked me, hey, Mr. Keefe, you got advice for chemistry or not? My chemistry is dying. Then I'm like, hey, I'm that bio tutor, not that chem tutor, so I cannot help. But then I said, okay, you try an experiment. You know the CAQ notes, how about you try doing it for chem? Okay, then the next exam, he got A1. So it worked, right, for chemistry also. So that's my first study strategy. Make smart notes that find out what are the common questions and then how to answer them to get full marks. Okay, moving on to the second strategy, okay? In JC, the science content is insane compared to O levels. It's very much bigger volume of content. So how to memorize everything? I also face the same problem, especially with chemistry, because in chem, there are weird equations that you need to memorize. You need to memorize the reactants, what's the numbers, what is the catalyst to add, in what temperature, what pressure, what's this nonsense got to memorize? Okay, but too bad we have to memorize, right? And I was just dying at it. So I finally was like, hey, why not I try flashcards? So, there's a Quizlet app that we also use for our tuition, for our students, we make for them. So I make my own flashcards for the chem equations. In 2 weeks of just using them, like around 10, 15 minutes a day, I learned all of the equations already. Like you can just test me and instantly I will give you. So that's how effective it was. Then I was like, okay, let me try this for bio definition question, because definitions a bit abstract, some of them. So I also struggled. So I use that. And then again, easy game. So flashcards, they work. And they are very good for abstract things that are harder to memorize, less intuitive to memorize. Okay, yeah, so that's my two strategies. One is make your CAQ notes. Number two is for memorizing, especially science, got a lot of content, weird stuff, flashcards. Okay, then I have two bonus um tips that I would do if I was you, okay? If I was going to JC. Number one, I will use ChatGPT to help me with my understanding. So sometimes in school, you're like, what does the teacher mean by that? Then you just ask ChatGPT, please explain this to me as if I'm a 16-year-old or 14-year-old. Yeah, dumb it down kind of. Okay, and then that way you can help your understanding. Okay, then the second bonus advice is fix your content early on. And how you may need to do that is you may need to get tuition help. So that was what happened to me. Okay, so I took econs as one of my subjects, H2 econs. And our teacher from the first day, right, was absolutely horrible. Like we all knew it was useless already. And we were like more confused in after she talks. Better that we just study the notes. So early on, I got econs tuition. And then after that, the whole subject became easy the rest of the year because the content was strong. I understood it was strong. very low anxiety. Okay, then compare this to chemistry. Chemistry, only the like 6 months before, then I finally took tuition, and then I realized like all my content foundation was destroyed because of all the doubts I never got clarified. Then last one is math. Math I delayed even more. So what happened was when I finally started tuition, every time they will give a worksheet, and I would spend 2 hours doing the worksheet because I think if you are quite good at it, 1 hour you can finish. But for me, everything I'm bad, right? So 2 hours. Then the tuition is 2 hours. And after the tuition, I get everything wrong. So I need to do corrections for almost every question. And then that's another 2 hours. So see how much time I use just on math tuition stuff because my math, I didn't fix it earlier on. Yeah, so my advice for JC, because it's so content heavy, right? Don't do what I did. You will suffer later. So fix the content and be consistent in your revision. Okay, so that's it for my sharing that I wanted to say. Now I'll open the chat. So the Zoom chat, you guys can send in the Zoom chat your questions. Okay, then I'll just answer. Okay, there's already one from Shivani in the Zoom chat. Yeah, so you'll send to the everyone chat, okay? Retain to change subject. Uh-huh. Okay, okay, do I have any page two bio specific tips? Other than the ones I already mentioned, which work very well for bio. Hmm. H2 bio specific. Okay, I'm trying to think of ones that are specific to bio. Okay, full disclaimer, I only teach O-level pure bio. I don't teach A2, I don't teach A-level bio. So what I'm saying is just opinion. Definitely understanding everything helps a lot and drawing out the diagrams. So it helps so much. So when you make notes, right, draw out the diagrams, don't just write words. So example, cell signaling is one of the topics. And then like, oh, how does this enzyme move under the cell membrane? And then this, it binds to something else. So draw all those steps out. I think it will help a lot. Yeah, other than that, the study strategies are already what I shared. And for bio, I think, yeah, just like what I said, if you ask ChatGPT, there are definitely some things that it can help you with. But if you need further clarification, then ask your teacher lah. Go and pester your teacher. Okay, how did I manage GP? Great question. I did not. I was suffering the whole time. So I got C for my prelims. Then it was 1 month before exam. I took tuition 1 month only. So for every week of the tuition, right, I would send in an essay, okay, for the tutor to mark and give me back. Then he will always fail me. Every of the essay I will fail. And I guess that helped lah, because I learned a lot when like he made all those comments. And okay, thank God. I studied for a few topics. You know, there are always a few themes or topics that come out. So I studied for one about, I think, animal science, something related to that, animal rights or animal testing, something like this. Okay, and it came out as one of the questions. So I went to write that question up. And then I got A. Okay, so it was really undeserved. Like from C to A in just 1 month of tuition. Yeah, I feel like I'm really blessed. It was not a good study strategy, okay? So I think my learning for GP was that I just like econs, I had a useless GP also for my school teacher. And so I should have gotten help earlier. Yeah, I don't know what was going through my head. Maybe I was just deprioritizing it, but it does affect. I'm right to say that it does affect your RP, your rank points. So if it affects your rank points, then I should have done something about it earlier. Okay, next question. Is taking bio in GC recommended if you didn't take bio in upper secondary? Okay, I would say unless you have a good reason for taking it, it would be an uphill battle. Okay, because it's going to be a huge content jump even from O-level bio. So if the O-level bio students are already going to feel the impact, then what more someone who didn't take upper sec bio? So yeah, you're gonna struggle unless you have a very good reason for taking it. Then if you already know like, oh, career path, then go ahead. Okay, how to get sufficient sleep in JC? Because I'm someone that needs 7 hours. Okay, how to survive on less sleep in JC? Oh no, that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Okay, how can I manage my time well? Okay, this is a great question. So, for managing our time, I think there's this fear that everyone has. I will have no time. I can't do it all. It's impossible. How am I going to have study all that stuff? There's so much content. Okay, so here's what happened to me, right? For most of my JC life, I had I gym 3 times a week, and it would be around 2 or 3 hours of gym per week. Yeah, each session. So that's 9 hours of gym per week, right? I was a bit crazy, okay. And I will also be obsessed with playing table soccer competitively. So I will play like many hours a week or so with my friends. And I think till this day I'm like top 30 in Singapore. If you put all the Singaporeans together, yeah, probably top 30. So I spend so much time, right? But how can I still have the time to study? Okay, so that's because of okay, I have one secret. I took a very good CCA that doesn't use a lot of my time because I already told you the priority that I had, right, is I want to score as high rank point as possible. That is my goal for JC. So it was not to, become super good in my CCA and stuff like that. So the CCA I took was 1 hour a week only. It was taekwondo. It sounds very like amazing, right? Taekwondo, I can fight you, but no, actually it's just like some external CCA, it's like enrichment kind of thing. So because it's only 1 hour a week, I had a lot more time to go and study. Okay, so that's number one. If you haven't chosen a CCA yet, I will say you ask yourself, what's your priority? If your priority is to go as high all A's as possible, then maybe deprioritize the CCA. Okay, so then the other thing is that because I studied smart instead of studying hard. So one of the study smart strategies I already told you is compile the CAQs, right? Because it's actually more useful for your exams. Another study smart thing is the flashcards. Some people they'll just read again and again, and they waste a lot of their time trying to memorize. Okay, so that's how to manage your time. Well, I want to give you all hope, okay? Like someone like me who spends so much time gymming and playing football and playing other stuff and table tennis also can still score pretty well. So you can do it, it's possible. Okay, and now they made it the last subject that if it doesn't improve your grade is taken out, right? So it even reduces the pressure more now. So it's very possible to do well. You can do it. Even though it's a big jump, but you can really do it. Okay, next thing is it necessary to take H3 bio if you want to be a doctor? I'm pretty sure it's not necessary. Okay, here's something I learned about doctor, right? If I'm not wrong, you also don't need bio in JC to become a doctor. You can just take chemistry. If I'm not wrong, you can correct me. Yeah, okay, I see some people nodding head. Yeah, Dylan also nodded. Okay, so here's something I heard about doctor is because it's so competitive, then there's a strategy of not just the grades is good enough, they also care about your aptitude. And how we can prove that aptitude is show that, you see, I love this so much that even before the uni application, I have gone for volunteering, I've gone for work attachments at clinics, because this is how much I love it. So you really want to prove to them that, like, wow, from the moment I was born, all I wanted to be was a doctor. So differentiate yourself from those people who just because they score high, they want to enter. So that might give you a better chance. Okay, how do you manage for math when you struggle a lot later on? I think Dylan is better to talk about math later. So yeah, basically what I did for math was I had to fix everything, like all the content foundation. So I think the key thing that helped was I took the tuition seriously, I took the questions seriously, and when I get everything wrong, I would redo the corrections to really know I know the thought process for everything. So I leave no stone unturned. I think it's the same concept I did for other subjects. Like even if it was an application question in a science subject, and it was like, oh, this thing is not a syllabus, don't need. But I would want to understand it after I get it wrong. I will research like, hey, what's this random disease? What does it mean? How does it work? So that I get an advantage over the other students. If it comes out in an exam, they will be a bit like, huh, what's this? But I know because I've researched on it a bit. Okay, welcome. Um, do you have any tips for a future vet aspirant? Oh, I also thought of being a vet at one point. Okay, so it says it's quite competitive and the admission grade is 70 RP. Oh, okay. So how to boost your portfolio to appeal to the unis? So if you haven't gone to JC yet or if you haven't graduated yet, then again my advice is since you know you need a high okay, you're in J1. So since you know you need a high RP, then do what I said, prioritize the RP, prioritize the ACADS. Okay, don't spend much time in CCA stuff, other stuff. Oh, and I guess another thing that helped me with time management is that I kind of had very few friends in JC. So I didn't have much socializing events. Yeah, and that also helped me reduce my time, so-called wasted time on those social events. Yeah. So I have a very strange, I guess I'm the exception. Most people they are quite into the social life in JC. So that's number one. Then another thing is I think Dylan is better suited to answer about the portfolio stuff, but I will my opinion is go for again those work attachments or volunteer somewhere in vet clinics to put on your portfolio to show that you are that interested. Okay, next one, how to boost your portfolio for econs for UK uni. I think this is out of my scope of expertise. Okay, later Dylan can answer that if Dylan has the answer for that. Okay, where do you find the question for the CAQ? Okay, good question. The first one is the TYS. Because TYS is what you actually come out in the O levels, right? So you scan through that first, and then find the common ones, especially those which are repeated almost word for word. They are obviously a commonly asked question, a CAQ. Okay, then what else? You can go to your school's worksheets, your school prelim papers. Okay, four questions, got it. Inspiring, H2 subject. Increase my chances. Okay, the last question there is again about how getting into medicine, right? So I'll leave that again for Dylan to answer. Okay, any more questions? For those portfolio questions or how to make a portfolio nicer, you all ask later, okay? How to manage JC life? Well, yeah, I think I already mentioned the main things is choose a select CCA that doesn't waste your time. Don't over socialize in socializing events. Um, I made the mistake of getting into a relationship also in JC2 somewhere, the worst year to get into. Thankfully, I made it, it was fine. Yeah, but it still took a lot of my time. So, and if you think about it, right, statistically, what are the chances that your JC relationship ends up being the spouse you marry? Probably quite low. Because after JC, what happens? You go overseas for uni, then you'll break up, long distance, bye bye. Yeah, so it's not really worth the time, right? Hmm. Hey, is it a must to take 4H2 for overseas scholarship? This one I'll let Dylan answer also, but I think it's not a must. It just it makes the portfolio look bigger. But then if you take 4H2s and you don't score 70 RP versus you take 3H2s and you score 70 RP, I would say that the one who scores 70 RP will be more favored and you have more access to the courses also because you break the minimum RP that the courses require. Hey guys, if that was helpful for you, then subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to join our O-level pure bio tuition classes, click the link below or go to thatbiotutor.com.